But
Oh,
we're on.
damn it.
Not tonight. We'll bust out the rum later.
Oh.
What's going on, guys? Let's. I suppose you and I should get some hellos out of the chat right away. So we got Hot Dog Bants and GTA Money. I know there's more of you in here, but GTA is hogging the chat for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm used to that.
No, we're not streaking. No. We don't want to play my audio. But as promised, guys, I brought Caden. Hello, how are we doing? As promised, I brought the one, the only, the OK Fabe with me. What's going on, dude?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for coming on. So we get our first true collab here on the channel, I guess you could say. We've done collabs many times before, but normally we get the podcast guys on and all that kind of stuff. So, Ben, how we doing? Nathan, how we doing? Caden, I think I said hello to you already. So, I told you guys we're going to go down to Predictionsville, and I think we should start with NXT. I think that's Saturday. It's the first to come up. I think that's where we should start. And I got to ask you, what do you think of this TakeOver card?
See, it's funny. I was actually thinking about this earlier today because I'm a big fan of the takeovers. And the cool thing about the takeovers is that, to me, they don't really need a lot of hype because they kind of hype themselves. But this one's different because it feels kind of, lackluster as far as the cards go compared to like the other ones. But to me, that makes it more interesting. I think that there's going to be a lot of more guys stepping up. So I think on paper it's not as strong as other takeovers, especially having been to one. But I think it's intriguing because I think you're going to see a lot of surprises come out of this, and I think you're going to see a lot of better performances than you might expect.
I'm hoping so. I really am, because this card, I'd have to tell you, I'm looking at it, and it's kind of, I don't know, does it feel lackluster a little bit just by looking at it?
Well, it's by comparison, like if you looked and compared to all the other NXT takeovers, this one's had probably, I don't want to say not the least amount of build, but because they just came off of Nakamura Joe.
Yep.
Like that took up most of 2016. So you're really only having realistically 4-ish week build of Roode and Nakamura, which that's probably the one I'm most interested in. Needless to say, the NXT women's division is really lackluster. They're in a rebuilding phase right now. So this is kind of a step towards that. It's not, even Triple H admitted that. I don't know if you heard about that, but Triple H recently admitted that like NXT is definitely not the most ideal state it's in right now. And he knew that because, there's been a lot of call-ups. There's been a lot of, people going up to Raw and SmackDown. There's been a lot of shifts and changes, which is to be expected. I mean, there's no revival right now. Joe's out. So it's understandable, but on paper, it's not the same as far as other NXTs, or other takeovers, but honestly, that's what makes me more interested in it. I mean, you see like the cards of the last NXT takeover, and you're like, oh man, these are all going to be great. But there's a lot of the undercard matches and like Nakamura Roode. I think that's going to blow the roof off the place more than I think people are expecting. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like there's not much interest going in, but I think like once we get there, it's going to be a ride.
And real quick, I see a couple of you in the chat. You can just search OKFabe in your little Twitter and your YouTube bar, and I'm sure you'll find him. If not, I will leave a link down in the description if I have already forgotten to do that. Real quick, Jeremy, yes, I remember you. Ben, I did pick 2 winners, and we will reveal those as the show goes on. Caden brings up an interesting point. Caden says Triple H says Nakamura is not ready for the main roster. I have not heard that, and I did not see that. Is that a Dave Meltzer reporting?
I think that was Triple H actually stating it because
I did not see that report at all.
I think someone asked him like, why isn't Nakamura on the main roster, and he mentioned pretty much it's kind of a cookie cutter answer, but at the same time it's kind of true. He's like, Nakamura, is still getting acclimated to like the way WWE does things, and I know people are gonna roll their eyes like WWE style. Not necessarily that, like from a production standpoint. Like he's mentioned this, and even Finn Balor's mentioned this. Like Balor never knew like where to look, where the cameras were, where this was, how to do that. You know what I mean? Like little nuances and things like that you would not
think of.
You wouldn't learn on the independent scene. You wouldn't know like a production value. You wouldn't know you don't know. Make a long story short, you don't know TV.
Where the hard cam is, so on and so forth.
which he's learning. Plus, honestly, and this obviously goes without saying, the language barrier. And I'm not saying Nakamura is horrible at English. He's honestly, I heard it. Like, I just watched the video package with like him and Roode for Takeover.
He's gotten a ton better.
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
And I think honestly, they're trying to beat that lisp out of him. I don't know if you noticed. He's got a pretty good lisp, and they are doing everything possible to beat that lisp out of him. Real quick in the chat, Daniel, how we doing? Batter, NRL free content. How are we, Luis? Ernesto, Luis again, and we have Kurt Angle in the chat. Believe it or not.
Holy crap!
I know. I should have bricked.
Hey, wait, is he in the chat with a broken freaking neck?
He might be. It's okay. Anything's possible with a broken freaking neck and an Olympic gold medal around his.
Guy's the man.
So let's start out. We got Roderick Strong versus Andrade Cien Almas, and the first thing I think of this match is, okay, Roderick Strong, good indie guy. I'm not sure if you were familiar with his work before WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you were. But Andrade Cien Almas, why is he not on the main roster yet?
There's a lot of reasons I think a lot of guys aren't on the main roster. Like I said, NXT is in a rebuilding phase because I was, not to go off on too much of a tangent here, but in general, what was it? Last year you had like how many call-ups from NXT? It was freaking nuts.
And how many do you think we're gonna have like just as of this Rumble?
Only one.
Do you think it's just Joe?
I think it's just Joe.
No
I think
Revival?
They're gonna throw. No, well, I had a perfect plan for Revival, or at least in my mind I did, because I'm a fantasy booking genius. I thought Revival should have been the ones to end New Day tag team title reign, but that's another story. No, I don't think Revival, because why would you debut Revival in the Rumble?
It wouldn't make sense, but we WWE doesn't always make sense. From time to time, they just do things.
No, not them.
Say it isn't so.
Never.
My fear for them is they just go up like the Ascension did. Then they go, "We're here. Everybody praise us now. We're here." Yeah, and then they kind of get lost in the shuffle. That's not at all what I want for them, because those guys are phenomenal.
Well, there's been a lot of Vaudevillains and the Ascension, both.
Right. Or I mean, we could tie. Vaudevillains, Ascension, Fandango, Tyler Breeze,
Bo Dallas,
Sami Zayn is now kind of feeling the pain a little bit on. He was. Now they're kind of bringing him back to prominence.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, at this point, the less people that get called up from NXT, the better. I think they need to do it slow and steady. I think they pulled a lot of guys from NXT this past year for the draft, obviously, to fill up the rosters, which look how good that's doing for a lot of people. I mean, you could really count on probably like a one hand, like who's benefiting from that, that huge surge of call-ups. So honestly, I'm kind of glad, because NXT needs, like, at the end of the day, NXT is a business. You look at it as a mini WWE, not just from the sense of like a production standpoint and like making matches and all that craziness, but it's a business too. They need to draw money. They need to be able to do all these big grandiose events, because it's like a fucking third brand. It really is.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah, they essentially do pay-per-views. They follow the big four. They do weekly television.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to look at it that way too, and ticket sales and all that craziness in order for it to keep going. So they need to build stars. And I'm sure we'll get into this when we talk about the women's division, but they like we just mentioned before, they need to really build it up more. So I'm glad Cien Almas, as much as I like him, I'm glad he's staying put.
The WWE NXT Chippendales dancer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put him in No Way Jose. That way it's put him in No Way. That way it's like absolutely no way or something like that.
Yeah. Guys in the chat, play nice. I yell at my children to play nice. I shouldn't have to yell at you guys. You guys are internet individuals. Play nice. Winners will be announced. We'll do one here shortly, and then we're going to do another one probably somewhere towards the end. So I will now announce the winners. You guys have pretty much until tomorrow morning to get me your information. Twitter would be the best way, please, because that makes my life easier. Otherwise, we can get something going. We'll have to figure something out as to how to get you your card for that one. But who do you got winning this one? Who goes over, Strong or Almas?
Kind of want Almas to win, because I think Strong's got a decent enough reputation, and Almas has got kind of a chip on his shoulder.
Right.
I say give it to Almas on this one.
I think Strong's new enough too, right? Like he's fresh-faced enough where he could take a pin and it really doesn't hurt him.
Right. He's got the buzz enough that I think like people can get behind him, and like they know him better than they know Almas. So that's who I would do. It kind of throw us a curveball.
Right. I'm as well taking Almas in this situation. I have to write these down, otherwise I'll forget them. Oh no.
I have so many friggin' Word documents. It's stupid. I'm not kidding. Like my friggin' my desktop sometimes just looks like a sea of just like obscurity.
Alrighty, moving right along on that note. Eric Young going up against Ty Dillinger. This one was a little tough for me. I have Ty Dillinger. I think he's going to make an appearance in the Royal. I don't think he's getting called up, but I think to not put him in the Royal Rumble right now, we don't want to burn down the Alamo Dome.
I think he's going to quickly, because I don't want to take too much time on this. I think he's going to beat Eric Young, honestly, and I think Sanity is going to beat him down mercilessly afterwards.
Yep. Because
that serves the dual purpose. It makes Sanity still look like this dominant force, but at the same time, Ty Dillinger gets a win heading into the Rumble. They would be extremely dumb not to have him come in at number 10 at the Rumble.
Yep.
Because his 10 chant is ridiculously over. When it's
imagine 15,000 people doing it, and then multiply that by like 10, and then that's the Alamo Dome.
They I guess backstage they're saying that they think it might become the next "What" or "Yes" chant.
Oh, it could be. That
it's like so over, and they said, and to your point though, I think he won't win, but it'll be just. I mean, it's like we know the purpose of it. We know why it's there. Like if you hear that like 10 when you hear the buzzer go, crowds are gonna go nuts.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's just for that. It's just for that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to take anything away from Ty Dillinger. I like him as a wrestler and all that, but we know the purpose of all this. So I'm totally fine with it. But actually, I give the win to Ty against Young, but I call Sanity to just lay him out afterwards.
It's like almost you read my mind on that one, because that's almost the exact way I was gonna say. Like Ty gets the win, but he just gets utterly just the snot kicked out of him by Sanity.
Yeah, because it's a win-win.
It proves, okay, Eric Young, hey, we're here, we're heels. And Ty Dillinger gets a little sympathy for the man. Okay, Kurt Angle in the chance wants to know what you think about firing Bayley and Balor. I don't know. I'm just looking at the chat. Why would you fire Bayley or Balor? First off, Balor is probably your most over person on the roster, and he's been gone for 6 months?
I'm just going to say that if they fired Bayley, that would be the biggest goodbye hug I've ever seen.
Right.
Which I think would be really funny is if they they hugged her, but they taped her pink slip behind her while they did a me sign. But why would they fire either one of them? Just from a marketing standpoint.
Well, number one, they don't have enough women to fire anyone. You could, if you're a woman now in the WWE, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Bayley's going to be the big, when they really started, she's just getting momentum on the main roster. And I'm saying that very loosely, very loosely. When they really put the steam behind her and push her to the moon, she's going to push so much merchandise, ridiculous, because she's kid friendly. She appeals to the broad demographics. She's going to be a huge merch seller. Just watch. She's going to be, because she's a huge. I think she was either the second biggest. She was either the biggest or the second biggest in NXT at one point.
I would have to say she's the biggest.
I can't say that confidently. I know she was second at one point. I don't know if she was first. I think Balor did her on a couple of things. But
I thought you meant women-wise, just women.
Oh yeah, no. In the women, she was the hands down best in NXT as far as merch selling. Hands down.
We're still hammering. I think you're still hammering out a character for her. You know what I mean? It's a little tough. She's the hugger, blah, blah, blah. Do I agree with what they've done to her? Kind of just taking Sasha Banks and, moving it over and putting it on Bayley, the whole character? Not necessarily. I'm just happy to be here. When I was a little girl, I used to like Eddie Guerrero. So did the rest of the world. Thanks for coming. But once this, guys, I will announce the winners when I'm ready to announce the winners. Literally, I'll announce the winners here. We'll announce one shortly, and then we'll do one a little later on. But Balor, what do you mean he's got no character? Are you kidding me? The Demon's probably the most over thing on Raw. Keep
in mind, to be fair, and I'm trying to be at least reasonable here, he's only been on Raw for a month. So
yeah, I mean,
he was
true.
They haven't really given him the chance to really flourish on the main roster. They did. I'll give whoever said that credit as far as what we've seen on the main roster. haven't really had a chance to give him a character on the main roster yet because he's been out with the injury. I mean, you could say that NXT, but NXT is a whole different ballpark where, and I'm not saying this to discredit the writing. I think they actually do some decent booking there, but they don't really do anything heavy over there as far as writing goes because they don't need to. Most of the characters over there are over because of either the character of who they are, like the persona WWE puts them on, or they have such a huge buzz from the independent scene that they're able, you know what I mean? Like they're able to like funnel that in and utilize that because let's face it, NXT is catered to like the hardcore 18 to 34 male demographic.
Absolutely.
That knows what they're talking about. Like they're the hardcore wrestling fans. They know this and they're smart in the way they're approaching it. So I can see the point on that saying like Balor has no character because to be fair, didn't really need it so far.
How is Finn Balor a demon? The same way the Undertaker's dead.
He's walking death.
He's literally dead.
I can set a TX cross on fire. Oh yeah, I can drive a hearse. Buckle up, Teddy.
You're going a little bit old school there on that one.
Well, that's
not that old, but old enough. I forgot about.
Set a teddy bear on fire. What else?
Shoot lightning bolts out of his fingers.
Had fake dump. Like we want to take it realistically. Go and look at all the shit that Undertaker's done in the entire span of his career. He dragged Hulk Hogan from a motorcycle and dragged him through a fucking arena. Cool.
God, I love the Undertaker.
He will always be hands down my absolute favorite of all time.
Yeah, mine too. I mean, even Biker Taker. I went over on Biker.
I love Dick Biker Taker. That was the best one.
Yeah, that's the one that is the one I speak of. Everyone's like, I hated Biker Taker, but I'm like, he brings back fond memories for me.
Hey, I want to face Ric Flair, an 80-year-old man at WrestleMania. What I'm going to do? Beat up his son.
Jesus.
Sure.
Why not? But women's championship: Peyton Royce versus Nikki Cross versus Nikki Bella versus Asuka.
Nikki Bella?
I'm sorry, Nikki Cross. What did I say? Did I say Nikki Belly? Billy Kay. Oh my goodness. Talking is difficult, guys.
I think
I'm actually busting out my Hooked on Phonics as we speak.
This is I've got mixed feelings about this because I feel like to me this match serves two purposes. This introduces you to every woman in the division at once, with the exception of one. I think that what they're doing is they're stalling until they get to Asuka versus Ember Moon at NXT Takeover Orlando.
Oh, you think it's going to be right away at Orlando?
Well, that's the next Takeover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what they're waiting on. I think they're stalling because the women's division's not that hot. But at the same time, this is a cool way to introduce all the women. I highly doubt Asuka's dropping the belt.
So you're going Asuka as winner?
Yeah, but before you get off into your point, because I don't want to say oh, I thought of that too. If someone were to win it,
yeah,
I'd give it to Peyton.
Really?
Yeah.
The kind of hottie heel.
Yes. Wait. Peyton's the one from Sanity, right?
Peyton and Billy are both they're from the Down Under.
Oh, maybe I'm getting them all mixed up now. Which one's the one from Sanity?
That's Nikki Cross.
Okay, then I would give it to Nikki Cross.
That's how I think. I think Nikki Cross wins it. She wins the belt, but Asuka will not be pinned.
Right.
Either Billy Kay or Peyton Royce will get pinned. Asuka will have nothing to do with it. This sets them up really awesome for I think Orlando, which would be Nikki Cross versus Asuka, which they kind of teased this past week. And then after when Asuka gets her title back, because she technically never lost it, and that will be her claim to back to her title for Orlando. They'll tell her after you've taken care of Nikki, and then at SummerSlam, which I don't even know where SummerSlam is this year.
It's his last year in Brooklyn.
Last year in Brooklyn. Okay, so
it would be back to what is it? Back to Brooklyn
19. Back to Brooklyn 3. I think that's where you see Ember Moon
Well,
That's
yeah,
where you
because
see Ember Moon, and then she gets her chance between that, and then she'll probably debut somewhere after Survivor Series, because they have that women's tournament planned somewhere at any time now.
yeah,
So
they
that'll
said,
bring
I
in a
think
new
they
flock
said
of women.
spring. Yeah, true. Good. Well, they just did hire a bunch of women too. Kimberly, who's from my area, who's fantastic women's wrestler. I'm so happy they signed her. She deserves it. But yeah, I could definitely see that. Fun fact: I was actually there when Asuka won the title.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
I went
fun.
to.
Well,
I
you live in Boston, so you get to see you're so centric to a lot of different things.
Well, no, I traveled to Dallas for WrestleMania weekend.
Oh,
right. I did it all.
I'm just saying, you get to see a lot of the stuff I don't. I live in Milwaukee. Pay-per-views don't come here, except now they start to, because Vince McMahon caught a whiff of money because we're building a new arena. So, Vince
hey,
McMahon,
take what you can, right?
Yeah, no, I absolutely am, because I'm hoping next year we have a Rumble, or 2019 to have a Rumble here.
Yeah, 2018 is Philadelphia, unfortunately.
I'm hoping 2019, because it's supposed to, fingers crossed, supposed to be done by 2019. But we'll see. That's 2019. That arena's supposed to be built up, ready for the Bucks to go. So technically it'll be done in 2018, but I'm hoping 2019 we see the Rumble.
There you go.
We're not firing Bo Dallas. You can't fire anyone right now, guys. There's just not enough people on both rosters to fire anyone. If anything, they're gonna move them. Maybe, but if anything, don't you think they try to move them from Raw to SmackDown first before they start terminating people?
Well, you know what's funny? I thought about that because a lot of people were saying, Sami Zayn should go to SmackDown. Sami Zayn should go to SmackDown. And in some ways, I do agree with that. But at the same time, it's I remember watching this past Tuesday SmackDown, right? Mm-hmm. And it really made me think wow, yeah, now that I think about it, they don't really utilize a whole lot of guys. They're just using Apollo Crews now.
Yeah, Apollo Crews has been hidden.
Yeah, so I'm not saying SmackDown's I'm not saying Raw is worse than, or I'm not saying Raw is better at it, but I don't know. There's certain guys they haven't utilized well either. So yeah, I would say definitely try to they moved Swagger to SmackDown. Look how well that went.
Yeah, forget everything you know about Jack Swagger, including Jack Swagger.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Did you see his new outfit?
The one with the sweatsuit?
Holy fuck.
Is that what you're talking about? The sweatsuit, and then he's got his wrestling crap over it?
Oh my god. It's like someone threw up Sergeant Slaughter's outfit onto Jack Swagger.
But it looks so much worse.
Yeah, and it sucks because Swagger's in better shape. I don't know what the fuck.
Right. I don't know what they're going with there. I don't. But it was on a house show. Hopefully he was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear a sweatsuit today. Because I can. Geez. I got to drop 5 pounds. Let's do this. That's my hopes.
Weed the people.
Yep. All right. Authors of Pain going up against DIY.
Give it to Pain.
I completely agree. Authors of Pain are grabbing it.
It just sets up the chase. I think they're gonna I think they're gonna fucking murder DIY. I'm not saying that they're better, but I just think that obviously they've been playing off the power card, which I think they need to. So I think that if they need to take them seriously, I mean, shit, you can't say they haven't gotten a fucking great push.
Yeah, no, they're getting the straps, no doubt. And
I mean, they won the Dusty Classic. If I'm okay with it, to be honest with you.
I'm fine with it too. They're still green, but you got to remember they're in developmental, so it's kind of okay.
Right. I mean, yeah. So if they don't win the straps, it's going to be from some MacGuffin where like count out or DQ. You know what I mean? It's something like that. If they don't win the straps, but honestly, I would put the straps on them.
No, I think you're putting the straps on them, and I think. Yeah. I think Gargano and Ciampa are moving after they kind of, whatever they need to do to kind of tie up loose ends down there. I think that those two are headed to 205 Live.
Oh, please.
They are. It's unfortunate, but
No,
They're too good to be on 205 Live, but it's floundering. DIY is hot right now, so they're going to 205 Live.
No, please.
I know.
No.
It's painful to think about.
No. God, no, please. Because I know they're going to send Aries over there already.
I know, and I think he should just stick on commentary.
He's hilarious.
He's
on commentary.
great, and he's from my. I love him. He is the greatest man that ever lived.
What was the line that I really liked from him? It was something like,
Just poke him in the eye.
No. It was like Jack Gallagher and Arya Davari, and neither of them had knee pads, and like they were just talking, and he goes, I like Corey knee pads, and I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard.
Well, I liked it. The first one. We got a lot of matches left to predict.
Sorry, we're just babbling incoherently. And
no, they're all chomping at the bit because they want to know who won the 1 month subscription to WWE Network. And patience is a virtue, people. So relax and chill. But anyway, back to this. I loved it because he's always like, well, it's simple, Corey. I put my thumb in his eye. But like the first thing that I knew that was gonna make him so over it wasn't even funny was when the Bollywood Boys came out for that very first 205 Live, and he goes, "Which one's herp and which one's dirt?"
Oh, I remember that.
You're on fire. He's exactly what I said it is. He's a sedated Jesse Ventura.
That's probably a really accurate way to put that.
I mean, he doesn't have the craziness of a Jesse Ventura, so he's a little bit low key, but I mean the voice is there. The voice is there, and it's like everything just seems to just fit. I don't know.
It's good stuff. I'm a big fan of him. 205.
I know. It's got to get better. It can't get any worse. Could it?
205 is more like 911.
20. Right?
Yeah, no. Well, it's growing on me. It's just, I don't know. I get way too much of a 2009 ECW vibe. Way too much from it.
I do too. I was telling a buddy just this morning. I said, you know what we do with 205 Live? This is exactly what we do. We make it the flippy shit division. Like literally, just make it the flippy shit division.
I don't know. I'm trying to be patient with it.
I am as well. But I think that, as much as everyone's like, it's just flippy shit. That's why you turn into cruiserweights, isn't it? To see what wacky, crazy shit they're going to come up with next?
Pretty much.
I mean, that's what I said. Just make them the flippy shit division. Now they're different from everyone else. I mean, not that, the entire other roster is also doing flippy shit, but let them do, like, the crazy flippy shit.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to do it. All right, NXT title match. Bobby Roode going up against Shinsuke Nakamura.
Nakamura.
Oh, I'm going to have to disagree with you. Bobby Roode wins this one.
Really?
I think Bobby Roode. Here's how I got this playing out in my head. And I don't know how long you've been poking in on my channel, but if you've watched a couple of my other prediction videos, I actually predicted Nakamura to lose last time to Joe. Because nobody. I don't remember anybody else calling that. That's no. How did I do it? I forget what I did. Either way, somehow I'm like, here's how it's gonna.
Somehow I'm right.
No, I did predict that because I'm like, he's gonna lose to Joe, and everyone's like, no, that's not gonna happen. And then I predicted a whole bunch of other stuff that never happened. And then when he lost, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if like Joe just happened to show up on Survivor Series? It was Survivor Series. That's what it was. Because everyone, I think Joe, and then like, wouldn't it be just interesting if he just showed up on Survivor Series and took Shane's spot? Was just like, I had to get somebody to win. That never came to fruition. But either way, I was like, that would have been so awesome. Like all of a sudden,
Shane died.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like Nakamura just comes out, and it's that crowd would have went bananas. But I suppose you want to reveal him to a much larger audience.
The crowd went bananas enough as it was for the main event, right. Survivor Series.
Yeah, and then Shane died. But I think Bobby Roode takes out Nakamura here, and then I think Nakamura comes up after WrestleMania. And
I don't think the only reason I say that is because Nakamura is the star, and I'm not saying Roode can't be. I just don't think he can be yet.
We got a lot of clocks ticking, though. That's the only thing I'm thinking about. You got Roode, who's going to be 40 in March. You have Aries, who's going to be, I believe, 38 this year. Nakamura is going to be 35.
Well, no, I could see Honestly, if it was up to me, I would have Nakamura debut. Yeah, I don't think Nakamura's debuting after Mania. I think it's too soon. I think
SummerSlam?
that I could see more realistically. If you really wanted to push it, I would wait till Mania next year. But if you really needed to be like gun ho about getting him on the main roster, then yeah, SummerSlam is where I would do it.
Well, I was either thinking SummerSlam or Survivor Series of this year.
I would do SummerSlam because it's a bigger venue.
And then we do
that's
the
just me,
volleyball. I was just thinking, then we do the volleyball setup. He goes to SmackDown, and we set up AJ versus Nakamura at Mania.
I'd do something totally different. And it's funny, I don't want to give too much away because I'm actually working on a fantasy booking series that's going to be over my channel. I haven't done these in a while, but one of them is how I would debut Nakamura's first year in the main roster, and without spoiling the entire thing because I'm still writing it, I would actually team him up with Paul Heyman.
Ooh. Paul Heyman and Lesnar get? Lesnar and Nakamura get Paul Heyman, or Paul leaves Lesnar altogether?
I'll leave it at that and let your imagination run wild.
All right, guys. Well, you guys will just have to, I guess, wait and check that out. Wait for that series to pop up over on his channel, and make sure you check it out. But my whole thing is, I think Bobby Roode takes this title, and you already have a really nice built-in challenger in Ty Dillinger, who does have a history and has a lot of sympathy when it comes to Roode versus himself.
I could see Ty being booked up in the main spot, but I think that you need to have like a good crop of guys in that top spot first before you start plucking again. Because I mean, shit, if Joe's going, you've lost Joe and Nakamura. Right, you've lost Joe and Nakamura and I'm basing this off of if you're saying WrestleMania, you're losing Joe and Nakamura in 3 months. I mean, that's a huge blow.
Yeah.
To NXT, and I don't think they'd be willing to take that. I think they see Nakamura as a long-term for at least another year. I think that's why they put the belt on him so quick. Because he debuted in Dallas. That was after Mania, and then he won the belt at Brooklyn and SummerSlam. So he had the belt pretty quick after he debuted.
Yeah, 4 months?
Yeah. Was that right? April
3 to 4.
May, June, July. Yeah, right. So I think that that was a smart move, and that they'll keep him there on the top spot long term. I think that's the long term plan until they can start to really rebuild that top spot yet. So I think it's a little too soon for Mania this year. I think maybe SummerSlam at the earliest, but if not next year, Mania.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think they're waiting on this new class of people to come in? I'm assuming there's offers out there that are just being mulled over.
I also want to see what they do with the UK guys. That's another part of it too. I'm not saying that I think anyone will be like huge mega stars in NXT, but we don't even know what the fuck the deal is over there.
Right,
so.
With the UK guys. Very, very true.
Right.
All right, guys, that wraps up the entire Takeover card. I suppose you guys want a winner now for one of the cards, correct?
I'm looking at the chat too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take a guess on that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Why don't you just pick somebody from in there?
I don't want that type of pressure. Are you kidding me?
I'm just kidding. I already have the winners chosen.
Okay.
Thank God. I already did my fun.
You making me work on this thing? Jesus.
No work, none at all. But Ben Denoncourt, you are one of the winners. Please contact me over on Twitter at @IAM_the WOOKIE. Please contact me over there, and we will link up. If your Twitter handle is different, let me know that it's you so that I can follow you, and then we'll DM each other, and you will get your stuff. So Ben Denoncourt, actually, he's right there. He just wants to know the winners so bad, and you are one. Congratulations! You will be you'll be getting that card, a little Visa card that you can enter in to watch the Royal Rumble and NXT. Coincidentally, I will get those over to you tomorrow morning, or as soon as you get me your Twitter information, or however it goes. Whatever kind of information you need to get to me. So, moving on, that's one.
Oh, God.
No, Sierra, it is not Dolph Ziggler on the other end. It's okay, Fabe. I guess you sound like Dolph Ziggler. I don't know.
I sound like what?
Yeah, she says, is that Dolph Ziggler?
Bring it on. I mean, I'm not going to confirm nor deny that I can gyrate like him, but we'll just leave it at that.
I need a video. I need video proof. But
just for you, Wookie. Nobody else.
All right. DM it to me. You know where to find me. Royal
Slide
Rumble.
the DMs.
Yeah, just slide
Catch me
it in
outside.
there.
How about that?
Jesus. All right, Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax kickoff show. Who wins on this one? What's going on, Brandon? Sorry, I missed your comment.
I win because I get at least 10 hours of sleep before the actual matches happen. No, I'm not a fan of this feud, to be honest with you. But if I'm going to give it to anybody, it's Nia Jax.
All right, fair enough. I agree with Nia Jax. Although if I'm booking it, Nia Jax wins. WWE booking it, so I have a feeling Sasha Banks will win.
Well, much like what we said about Ty Dillinger getting over on Eric Young, I think that if Sasha does win, Nia just breaks her like a freaking Kit Kat bar. And yeah, that's a fat joke. I'm sorry.
Confirmed. That was fully intended. Sierra, does he know him or look like him? It's possible. I mean, I guess.
Like Ziggler. No.
You don't have long flowing blonde hair?
I barely have flowing hair.
Your channel's lies.
Yeah, no, that's why it's okay, Fabe.
Oh.
Not like great Fabe. It's okay.
It's just okay.
Yeah, that has so many. But I have met Dolph Ziggler 3 times before. I don't know if that counts, but
yeah, I think that would count.
That means we're blood brothers.
This is the match we got talking about this before we came on air. Cesaro and Sheamus going up against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
So when I say this, I don't want anybody to like blow up on this, but I don't care who wins. And what I mean by that is I'm happy with either outcome. I've said this on my Raw reviews that the one shining light in the sheer pile of manure that is Monday Night Raw have been the matches that intertwine between Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Sheamus, and Cesaro. I think they've been very solid out of all things we've seen. And I'm like, wow, these are really damn decent matches. I'm very curious to see exactly what they're going to do when they go a little all out on the pay-per-view. So I think this matchup is going to be fantastic. It's probably going to be the best pre-show kickoff, pre-jizz match that we ever seen. But the 2 referees thing is but if I was a betting man, I'd probably say that Cesaro and Sheamus are probably going to walk out champions if I was to bet on it, because I don't think they'd pull the trigger. I mean, shit, give me Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows for like a night. I don't care if it's 24 hours.
You'll take
it. I will take it at this point. I am a desperate man, Wookie. I am a desperate man.
I hear you. I would as well take it.
But I think they're going to retain.
All right, let's get into some chat stuff. Jose, yes, there's one more winner, and we will get to that whenever we get to that. Sierra, this is OK Fabe. You can go type OK Fabe into YouTube. He as well has a channel devoted.
Just don't do it on Pornhub. Well, I mean,
you
discretion.
can.
Discretion is highly advised, but always ignored.
18 and older, please. I guess. What did he say to you? You guys are. I'm not sure what that portion means. Oh, okay. So she clarifies. I'm reading the rest of it. What did Dolph Ziggler say to you?
Oh,
is what she's asking.
Oh, okay. No, it was a backstage event. I've been backstage a couple of times at various shows. It wasn't anything long. It was just like a hi, how you doing? Like shake your hand, appreciate your work. Thanks, blah, blah. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just like quick like meet and greet and just like, hey, how's it going? Shake hands, and that was it. Nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy. No. Nathan, I picked the winners. I am using a fun little website that allows me. It is Sand Racers. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but Sand Racers. I could be pronouncing that wrong, but basically it allows me to enter a comment. And it'll specifically look for that comment, and it'll pick. It just does it at random. I literally hit randomly pick winner, and it randomly picks somebody who used that comment, and plugs tells me who it is. Basically, is the short and skinny. What I did is then I cross-referenced that with who is on my, because I said you had to be subscribed, and I cross-referenced that with the subscriptions, and yeah, it's literally that easy.
And a little bit of dark arts.
Yeah, and, magic and things. But I as well want Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson to win this bad boy. I mean, I need it. I crave it. I've been tired of seeing, Carl Anderson take a pin for like a year. Has it been? It's been a year almost now, right?
They debuted like 3 weeks after
The Rumble, I think,
no,
right? Or
no,
was
no,
that
no, no,
after
it was after Mania.
Okay,
Yeah.
so better part of 6 months. Now I've been watching Carl Anderson take the pin. They need those titles so desperately.
I need it like I need an injection of ring postitis.
Right, they need it so bad. Just that would boost them greatly.
Like I said, I don't think they're gonna do it, but for God's sakes, I take a day. I would take a day.
Here's the thing: it's on the kickoff show, so a lot of people are like, "Oh, they won't do it." But you want to know what? If you want to get people watching the kickoff show, have a title change on it. Has that ever happened? A title changes on the kickoff?
I want to say yes. I want to feel like the U.S. title changed hands on a kickoff show.
I wanted to say that too, but
because the tag team titles haven't changed hands all year.
I couldn't name the U.S. title match that it happened in.
It's got to be the U.S. If it's any championship,
yeah, it would be the U.S. Yeah,
because
that's the one that's
the WWE title match on the kickoff show.
Because that's been the one that's prominently been posted on the U.S. But when Rusev lost it to Cena, he lost it to him. Right before the main event, right? It was like the semi-main event.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking about it because I was thinking back to No Mercy when the WWE title match was like the opening match.
Right. Yeah, and I was just like,
no. If any, to the best of my knowledge, if any titles changed hands in a pre-show, it would have had to have been the U.S. title.
I'm going to use Google.
Ah, damn it, you're cheating.
I know, I am cheating, and that's how I am.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
I'm got a horrible memory. Dates and things like that just don't mesh well with me. And time, especially, I lose a lot of time very, very quickly. Don't ask me how, but like time is like this mysterious thing that I just lose. So,
well, do you ever gain time?
I really wish I could gain some time.
Yeah, just yeah.
No, because I was just like, oh yeah, remember when Shawn Michaels and Austin went at it, and what was that? 96? 90.
Because Kalisto, I'm just thinking in general, because the only one I could think of is when Kalisto and Del Rio fought. I think no, that was a rematch though. Shit. It had to have been the beginning of the year when like Kalisto and Del Rio were fighting for the U.S. title, because I know Kalisto and Ryback fought for the U.S. title at Mania, and they fucking missed that match, and I was at WrestleMania, and I was pissed because it was the only pre-show match I give a shit about, and Kalisto retained. That's the only one I could think of. That's the only one I could think of.
I can't. Nothing rings a bell to me of any title ever changing. So that therefore the kickoff show has become, who cares? I can miss 2 hours, Or basically.
you could like kick it off.
Yeah, or you could actually kick it off. Well, I mean, God, Lita's always like messed up out of her mind on those shows. It's ridiculous. It's really sad to watch because it's like, oh, it's Lita, and she's higher than a kite. But moving right along, right? All right. Well, I don't have any of my moderators here, which is a good thing. That's cool. But Natin, welcome to the Timeout Club. Population U. Congrats, brother. Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Naomi. I got that one right this time. Versus Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya.
Toughie, because no titles on the line. They just started cementing these feuds. To me, the heels have to win because they have more of an uphill battle. They just started Nikki Bella and Natalya like really sinking their teeth into this one. I think Mickie needs some momentum, and I think Alexa Bliss needs some momentum going into it. So I got to give it to the heels.
I guess I'm going to give it to the heels. I honestly don't even think this match ends. I just have a feeling like it just becomes this like crazy brawl, and like everybody just leaves, and then that's it, and we're all going to be really let down.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah, I mean we've seen this damn match before, and that's what drives me bananas.
Yeah, but SmackDown doesn't do it that often, so I'm forgiving of it. You know what I mean?
I know, I'm a stupid cheater who uses Google instead of pure knowledge. You're right. I can't store 30 years worth of wrestling in my nugget, plus 30 years of football knowledge, plus 30 years of every other sport. So, hey, I'm a cheater. Yeah. I couldn't even tell you. You know what? I actually got wrong. What year the Packers were just recently in the most recent in the Super Bowl? That's how much.
That's no. You're nope, not that one.
Yeah, it was 2010, and I actually got it wrong, and I was like, oh shit! I said it was 2011, which had happened in 2011, but was in the 2010 season. But it was like,
so you're within the right decade.
Right? No, I was close. I wasn't like 97, but yeah, Brett Favre. Which is funny because I asked my wife recently because she's like all of a sudden become a huge Packer fan when they hit the playoffs. And I was like, name a Packer that's not named Aaron Rodgers or Clay Matthews. And she's like, she literally looked at me with all seriousness and went, Reggie White. And I went, honey, Reggie White's been dead for 15 years. Like...
So not a no. I'm just fucking around.
He was on the pad. I'm like, and she's like, okay. She's like, all right, well, at least I got one, within a time. And I'm like, he has to be on the 52-man roster. She's like, Brett Favre. And I'm like, where the fuck does Brett Favre play? And she's like, he's the quarterback. And I'm like, what's Aaron Rodgers then? He's the quarterback. How many quarterbacks do we have playing on a football team, honey? Just one. Last time I checked. But what do I know? Rich Swann up against Neville. Do we see a title change here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think we're going to see a title change. I think what I've heard is there is a real possibility that we might see an open challenge concept. And this is a rumor, so please, for the love of God, take this with a grain of salt. That we might see this is going to be, this might blow your mind. I heard Kota Ibushi and Neville for the Cruiserweight title at WrestleMania.
You think Kota's coming, but you think Kota's going to come back, or Kota's actually going to be here?
I don't know, but the fact that they would be open to idea of bringing back the former guys from the Cruiserweight Classic, which I've heard a lot of, putting them into an open slot like that, even for WrestleMania weekend, I'm all for it. I think Neville, I'm not a fan of Rich Swann's character anymore. It's very confusing because he's like the Flash Funk kind of like, hyper like dancing guy, but then he's like tries to be a serious babyface. It's very polarizing, and I'm not a big fan of it. I think Neville, I love everything about heel Neville, everything about him, and I would much rather see Neville be the king of the Cruiserweights at this point.
I would agree. I think Neville needs this. Number one, Neville needs this. Number two, the Cruiserweight division needs this, so we can get some semblance of like storylines going that people may actually care about. Right,
establishes another former champion, which that could go either way if you really want to think about it. But I'd rather take it.
Yeah, I think Neville he'll bring some prestige. Let him hold it for a while though, because it seems like we're swapping this title a little too often, which is kind of devaluing it. But like every champion that's had it, besides like maybe Brian Kendrick, has kind of been like, please get this title off of me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it hasn't been good. So I'm hoping Neville could bring some prestige and, like, hold it for a while so it can start to move its way onward and upward, hopefully. But
I mean, you could see it, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. You could see it as a hot potato, but at the same time, I'm more towards the latter.
Well, but when nobody really is holding it, it's like, this is my title. You know what I mean? Like, it fits them so well. And nobody's really had that. Like, Kendrick started to get that, but then they took it off of him and put it on Swann. Right. But then Swann has just screamed, get this title off of me.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that same vibe.
And TJ Perkins was, I'm pretty sure he stole my soul with one of those matches because it was just so bad. I can't stand TJ Perkins. His shine, the polish on that turd is gone. He does nothing for me.
Poor TJ.
Poor TJ.
I dab for you, sir.
Yes. Sierra wants to know in the chat, have you met Seth Rollins?
Yes.
Yes, he has met Seth Rollins. All right, Ben. Yes, I followed you back. We will be in contact here shortly after the show is over. Wookie's a student. Kota will probably not be coming for a match in the WWE. It sounds unlikely as well. Neville needs to win the Cruiserweight Championship to push the Cruiserweight division. We're going to have to wait and see on Kota Ibushi. He's an interesting cat. There's no doubt he's probably one of the best out there right now.
Keep in mind, I'm on the same boat as Silent Spider in terms of like the likelihood of Coda coming back, but I've heard more of the fact of they're open to bringing back either one or several guys from the Cruiserweight Classic just for like, you know, a one-off. I've heard maybe more for NXT, which I would love to see Zack Sabre Jr. in NXT. You have no idea how much of a mark I am for that guy. And if they could bring him back in any way, shape, or form, I'm just saying I think the Cruiserweight division is there's an open door, I think, still part of it, or at least I think there is, that could really open the potential for some, even if it's just for one night only, some really good matches on pay-per-view. And I think that's the way you need to kind of look at it.
I completely agree. But what do you think about, okay, so since we're kind of on the topic of cruiserweights, and we've gone more or less podcast format at this time, what are your thoughts on a possible Prince Puma or Ricochet joining the ranks?
So what do I think of them possibly coming to WWE?
Yes. And will it do anything for the division?
See, that's a tough one because it's all about presentation. If they did 205 Live right after the Cruiserweight Classic, immediately after it followed, I think it would have had a much better chance of success. But instead, they did, a couple of months after?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it was something like that. I mean, they were on Raw, like, right away.
No, they weren't. I don't think they were. I think there was like a month where
Was
they weren't.
Was it like a month?
Yeah, I think there was a month gap between. I know it wasn't immediate. I know that for a fact. But that I think was a big hindrance for it because using the cruiserweights as a commercial for 205 Live on Raw is fine if they at least came out and said presented it in that nature. Like, hey, cruiserweights are exclusive to Raw. Also, make sure you check out their show 205 Live, which really doesn't make them exclusive anymore, but fuck it. But the problem is the execution. Like they didn't. I think they flip flop on what they wanted the cruiserweight division to be, and they didn't really have like a clear cut, concise idea of what they wanted it to be. If they just did 205 Live right off the get go, right? I think it would have had a much, much better chance to succeed because then you had a core group of guys that you could have built off right off of the hype and the momentum from the Cruiserweight Classic. But I think having that gap in between was what really hurt them because they're like, fuck, now we have to actually like develop a show like that. I think if they went into like even the second half of the Cruiserweight Classic, like from the last 8 guys on with that mindset of like, okay, we're going to start establishing guys, then I think it would have had a better chance.
Do you think they kind of screwed themselves over with like not knowing who was going to sign and who was going to sign? Like, because Kota Ibushi made it deep and then was like, well, peace, guys. Like, have a good one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you think they should have maybe had some of these guys sign beforehand to know who they're going to push in that top 8?
So if they knew going into it we're making a show, then fuck yeah, they could have molded the tournament in their favor, right? Because then you'd be like, oh, okay, we're doing this to put this person here to do this to start this off. Because I've seen multiple times wrestling spurn storylines off of a tournament and done it very, very well, and I don't think that they couldn't. I think they could have done that here. But I think that, again, not to beat a dead horse, I think that if the fact that there was that gap and that they didn't go into like immediately going into 205 Live, I think that was what hurt them the most. Because if you did 205 Live right after the momentum of the Cruiserweight Classic, I think even initially from the beginning, you would have had a lot of buzz. Even if it fell flat on its ass, like right the first couple of months, like the first month, where it wasn't as exciting as the Cruiserweight Classic, I think people would have still tuned in and still given it a much better chance, as opposed to like coming off as, oh, this is the Cruiserweight division. It's coming off because nobody knew there was a Cruiserweight belt until the last fucking night.
Yeah, this is true. This is
so
very true.
How do you expect a division to flourish and grow when you're just telling us live as the main event is happening that we're reintroducing the Cruiserweight Championship? That to me screams poor planning, And I think that they needed to kind of mold things better. Like, that's why I think the UK tournament's going to do a little bit more successful, because they're not doing it the same way. They're, at least in theory, they're kind of, curving in that direction. But I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But my overall point is having, they could have curved it that way. So.
Do you think that they should have followed maybe the WCW approach and make them curtain jerkers?
On Raw, yes.
Okay.
I think if they did it for Monday Night Raw, absolutely. If they were just keeping it to Raw, absolutely. Because the Cruiserweight matches, if you gave them because what we get, mostly, how many fucking talking segments do we get on Raw?
Enough.
You give me two right? You give me two Cruiserweight matches back to back, even 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes. You do what's the average? 3-minute break. So you do a 3-minute break in between. I don't give a shit if they're back to back. That's 20 minutes killed, right? You do maybe a talking segment in between, so stretched out for another 5 minutes or so. So you're looking at 45 minutes killed. Even if you do a fucking talking segment at the beginning of Raw, which they mostly fucking do anyway, and then you at least have people hyped up. Or what I initially said was put a Cruiserweight match at the top of every hour. Because that way at least you have something to look forward to. Okay, the last hour is going to be probably the main event segment. The very beginning is going to be a talk to set up the main event segment. But at least at the 9 o'clock segment and the 10 o'clock segment, you're going to get a hard, fast-paced, hitting match. That's how I would have done it. Because that way
that idea.
Because that way, even though shit gets dragged, segments drag. Nothing's perfect. There are some segments that are great, some that are bad. But if you at least drag it to a certain point where okay, I can get there, and then the Cruiserweight match really just pumps it up. That's how I would do it personally. But what do I know?
Yeah, exactly. We can talk off air about this. I'm actually just reading I'm not reading, but there was something that popped up in my face, and it was what is it? WWE canceling airing of some of its live shows, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? And it's 205 Live, and it's now I don't know who Sports Kida is. Never heard of them, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it very very skeptically. So, I mean, it is what it is, but I like the comment. The first comment is, what is 205 Live? Never heard of it. I'm like, that about sums it up, right? That about makes it all good.
Sorry to go off on a tangent, guys.
No, I think it's something that needs to be talked about, because it is a definite problem, and it's not only is it hurting Raw, it's something that's not getting over on its own, but Charlotte Flair versus Bayley.
Keep it on the Queen.
I couldn't agree with you more. Now I gotta ask you. I was a guest on a podcast just last night, and you guys can go check that over on the New Age Insiders. Go check it out on their website. It is up as of today.
They're from my area. I like those guys.
Yeah, I was doing a little guest spot with them, and we got into Charlotte and Sasha. And I know this is again another tangent. But I don't think Bayley stands a prayer in this. Hello, salute me, please. Jose Mora, do you want to salute? It's been a while. It's been, let's see, how old am I now? 30. So I got out when I was 24. Yeah, it's been about 6 years since I've done a salute. So, anyways, getting back to that, who do you think overall, if you take the whole mass of Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks, who won that feud? Not who has the title, because obviously we know who has the title. Who won that feud?
Charlotte, hands down.
100%, right?
Yeah, okay. And the reason is because Sasha and I'm trying to choose my words carefully, so
no,
bear with me.
Go. Just
Sasha's victories meant nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and I can completely
that's
agree.
Why. Because, and it's regardless of whether or not it was on pay-per-view, but ultimately WWE is trying to, I kind of think I know what they're doing. I can't say for certain, but here's how I'm thinking of it logically. They're obviously keeping Charlotte's pay-per-view record intact, which is ironic because she's not undefeated at pay-per-views, by the way. For those of you who can't remember, Bayley and Sasha defeated Charlotte and Dana in a tag team match at Battleground. Fun fact.
Oh, hey, look, house phone. That's a thing.
What's that?
My house phone just went off.
On top of that, they immediately established Sasha as a 3-time women's champion in under 6 months. That could be looked at either way. But if you look at the pay-per-views, you look at like Charlotte almost instantly winning it back. There was never a moment. There was never even a Raw where like Charlotte fought Sasha normally for the championship and like failed.
Right. Well, I was taking the grand scope of things, and we were talking about it. And I was like, no. Like, Charlotte literally ran circles around Sasha.
Sasha picked up if you look at it, she picked up 3 victories on Monday Night Raws, which it's not to discredit, the pay-per-view victory versus the Raw victory. Mm-hmm. But again, if you looked at it from a grandiose standpoint, it's just she won these random matches for the women's championship on Raw, with the exception of, I think, the Falls Count Anywhere match is the only exceptional victory again, grand scheme of things. At the same token, I think they were trying to make Sasha a credible female wrestler on her own outside of the championship, hence why they gave her the belt 3 times.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to instantly build up credibility with her, which, again, that could go either way. Oh, 3 times champion in 6 months.
Well, I was just taking all of it. I was taking the promos. I was taking the matches. I was taking everything. Backstage segments, whatever.
Yeah, no.
I think hands down, Charlotte just ran circles around Sasha. It wasn't even a contest. But we both agree there on Charlotte. I think everyone kind of was agreeing on that. But AJ Styles versus John. Now we're getting into the juicy bit. AJ Styles versus John Cena.
Oh, shit. This one is really, really tough. But to keep you at the edge of your seat, I'm going with Styles.
Ooh. Do explain.
So, fun fact, I'll explain more in this because my predictions video will be out actually right after this live stream.
Perfect. Well, tell you what, I'm gonna make them go check out that video, and you can hear why he chooses Styles over there. Do you explain it in the video?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's what I'll just say. It has to do with the fact. And I'm not going to go into detail, but I'll just state this. The reason I think Styles will keep the title at the Rumble is because I think something's going to happen at the Chamber.
Okay, you guys have the link to that, to OK Fabe's channel, so go check that out. We're going to keep that a little secret. And I am actually myself, I'm choosing John. I think as my good buddy Daniel, who comes and watches every now and again, says AJ Styles has a John Cena burial on back order. So.
Sorry, I just noticed in the chat, Ciara Andrews kept asking about Seth Rollins. Yes, I did meet Seth Rollins. What was the other? There was another question on there. Sorry to hijack the.
No, take it away. I'm poking back so much. Back and forth. I normally give more attention to the chat, and tonight I kind of I've been a bad Wookie.
I've been a bad Wookie. That could mean so many things. There's a lot of wrestlers I've met. I just don't usually type of like to brag about it because it's just not my thing. Like, like I said, I've been in a lot of backstage shows. I've met a lot of these wrestlers either before they've been to WWE or afterwards. I know a couple of people within the business, as you may or may not know. I do also the work for One Wrestling. So it's, I've met a lot of great people and had fantastic opportunities to, talk with a lot of guys. I actually met Rollins right before trying to remember when the last time I think I met him at Money in the Bank. It was when he was feuding with Dean, and I said, "Man, wish you could keep the curb stomp." And he goes, "Not my call." And that was pretty much our conversation. So it was pretty basic, short and sweet, and to the point. So, but yes, I have met Seth Rollins. There's a lot of guys I've met. So.
I got to imagine it is always pretty short and sweet and to the point because these guys pretty much after Raw are on their way to wherever they're going next.
Right. Yeah. So. I try to be respectful and just try to lay just quick hi, thank you, appreciate your work, blah, 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 quick,
They're always busy. They're always running,
Yeah, well, because I've been around the block a couple of times when it comes to that stuff, so I know not to harass them.
Right. All right, let's go into the most confusing match I think of the night: Owens versus Reigns in a no DQ / shark cage match.
Okay. So before they announced the no DQ stipulation, I had a perfect booking scenario for how this could have went down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My way I would have booked it was Jericho gets suspended above the shark cage and the ref gets taken out, right?
Okay.
Jericho drops the U.S. title to Owens to use on Roman. That's how I would have booked it. It's, because, Jericho can't interfere. Yeah, but he can just drop the U.S. championship to him and hit him over the head with it and do that to win.
Or does he just drop it on Roman? Just
from the
shark.
That would actually be absolutely hilarious. I hope Jericho brings back the Canadian championship, but that's another story.
Oh, we can get into championships another time. There's a few championships I'd like to see come back myself. But.
Oh, yeah. But this one's really tricky for me. I would have to go on it. Honestly, I would go with Kevin Owens. And the reason I say Kevin is because, yes, I've heard the rumor about like Roman fighting for the Universal title against, I think it's Strowman is the new one that's being tossed around again. But my point is, if they know they're getting the pushback from Roman from last year and they're doing it again, and they've already bitten their tongue and willing to keep the belt on Owens for this long, despite the fact that, it's been flip-floppy as far as his booking style, and they have a cultivated feud with Chris Jericho waiting in the works to pull the trigger ultimately for this, why would they take it off of him? All those factors to me means keep it on Owens, because let's face it, if they did Owens versus Jericho at WrestleMania and it wasn't for the Universal title, it wouldn't mean as much. It'd be cool, it'd be fun, but it wouldn't have that same value. I mean, shit, in a time where the Universal Championship really needs value right now.
Yeah, it really does.
The only other match scenario besides Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the Universal title that I would do would be Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor for the Universal title. That's the only other one. And that's because obviously Finn was the first champion, never lost the belt. Owens is the current, blah, 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 blah. So that's, yeah.
I am going with Roman on this one. I think the Alamo Dome will burn. I have my reasons, and when we get into the Rumble, the explanation will come. So I guess with that being said, let's get into the Rumble.
Jesus, do we have to?
Yeah, we have to. I think we're almost through this. We can do it. I promise.
Hold my hand.
All right, so we know who's going to be there, more or less, and I'm gonna kind of keep this short and sweet. Give me, and I'm gonna ask for 4 possible returns, old superstar returns.
Okay.
We'll start with that.
So I was thinking about this. I think Kurt's name's been tossed around a lot. I could see that. I was against it at first, but the more I think about it, they could use it as a potential setup for a match at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. The Rumble's a battle royal. You don't have to really do a whole lot. Elimination's easy, so it's not like you have to really strain your body in a Royal Rumble.
Right.
So I could see Kurt coming back. DDP, why the hell not? DDP's in fantastic shape. I actually do DDP yoga myself. He's always fun to just kind of throw in there. I'd love to see Scott Hall in there. Just why not? And there's one that I'm saying half jokingly, because I know that he's not going to be in this year's Rumble. Realistically, I know that for a fact. However, I would love to see them put this person in the Rumble just because to say he's in the Rumble. That's Sting.
Oh, but Sting's neck's so fucked.
No, I know. But again, the Rumble's
You think
not...
you can hide him enough in the Rumble where he doesn't have to take a bad bump?
Wookie, they put Drew Carey in the Royal Rumble at one point.
Okay.
I think we can put Sting in there. But my point is
enough.
that,
That's fair enough.
do I think Sting would win? No. Do I think Sting would do anything crazy? No.
No.
It would just be kind of one of those things like, neat, Sting's in the Rumble. So I just personally, that's just kind of my thing. I would love to see Ric Flair and Fall eliminate himself. I think that would be absolutely fantastic and hilarious. But I really think they're going to put another woman in there. I think they're going to put. I think they're going to put a female in there.
Who would it be?
That's a tough one.
I think that's too tough right now. Nia Jax, maybe.
Asuka.
Ooh, that's actually a really good one. I like that.
Yeah, I'd put Asuka in there.
I do like that. Sierra, I just read. I can read. She said she asked me how do I know the pronunciation of her name right off the bat. A lot of people mistake it for Serena, and I take my time, sound it out, and that's about it. I mean, there's really nothing to it.
Love the name Hot Dog Pants. That's just fantastic.
Hot Dog Pants has been around for a while. He's one of the OG subs.
It's great screen name. Love it.
All right, so I will give you guys probably already know mine, so I'll blow through mine real quick. I do think Kurt's now that I've gotten the what is that? The news that Kurt canceled his dates.
Yep.
In where is it? Was it the UK? Where's he supposed to be?
Yes, he had a couple of matches that he was scheduled for. I think there's one that he has left, but it's in February against Del Rio, which I think is going to be fantastic.
That's at WCPW, right?
Yeah, I think there was a couple of other dates that he had that were around this time, like around this weekend, that he canceled.
Yeah, he canceled the two that were specifically for this weekend.
Yep.
So I think you see Kurt come out, and you're going to hear that crowd go bananas when you hear the doot, 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 doot. You guys will see my live reaction to it, so we'll have fun with that. I think DDP, like you said, amazing sheep. He's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Why not? And then
Silent Spider said Kevin Nash. I'm like, yeah, I could see that.
I could see Kevin Nash. I have also been saying for a while now, Jake the Snake.
I haven't seen him recently. It sucks. I was supposed to meet him in November, and it just didn't work out. And I just don't know what his physical, like how he is in shape.
I'll tell you this. Did you watch the documentary that recently came out from Jake?
Yep.
And I know he's been basically, if you watch DDP's YouTube channel, which I've been popping in on now and again, he looks in pretty good shape. And I think, again, you can hide him in the Rumble well enough to...
He probably could.
He could do it.
Just in breaking news from Kayfabe News, Kofi Kingston to avoid elimination from the Royal Rumble by amputating his feet.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I love
it. Batista's not coming back, Jose. He's a big old movie star. Batista's made his thoughts and his feelings on the WWE well known.
So he found WWE's bridge. He took a lot of gasoline to it and just took the biggest blowtorch he could and burnt that bridge down. Yeah,
pretty much. Another one. Who is somebody else was saying something, but I think Finn. Well, okay. We'll get into that. We'll get into Finn Balor, who on the current roster right now will make either their debut or their return to their prospective roster.
So I think Joe is a lock-in.
Yep.
I think it's pretty safe to assume that Joe's gonna, as we mentioned before, I think Ty Dillinger will show up in the Rumble, but I don't think he's
not there for good.
He's just doing it for the 10 count.
Right.
Who do I think will make their return or debut? I want in my heart to say Finn. I really do. But I don't know. Supposedly he's going under. He's being seen by doctors to clear him or not, and they're keeping it hush hush. I think Finn coming back at the Rumble would be probably the biggest pop of the night. I'd have to think about that, but I'm
Vegas
pretty sure
has pretty shit odds on him And by pretty shit, I mean if you bet on Finn, you might owe Vegas money. He is a 5-1 odds as of right. Yeah, he's five. He is 5-1 odds in Vegas right now, and Vegas typically is not terribly wrong on a lot of this stuff.
Well, Taker's the favorite to win, right? Although it switched over from Orton a couple of times.
It's gone to Orton. It's gone to it's like all over the damn place as of late. But that top 5 never seems to change all too much, and Finn is pretty solid at a 5-1. So I've seen Strowman's at a 7-2 right now. 3-1 on Taker. Yeah, Taker's in the lead, but I think when we have to really pay attention is that Sunday morning when the lines shift, because it all without doubt always happens, and that line goes crazy, and then that whoever has the worst betting odds is your winner. I don't know how Vegas does it, but they're
so James Ellsworth.
Yeah, James Ellsworth.
Did you see? I don't like to talk too much about other channels in terms of like other videos and stuff. It just because I like to keep it within ourselves.
Sure.
But I did see What Culture's like fantasy booking of the Rumble, and I could not stop laughing my ass off.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
And don't get me wrong, it's not that I hate What Culture. I really enjoy their work. I actually got a chance to meet most of them at WrestleMania weekend. But Adams was absolutely hilarious when his fantasy booking was that like Goldberg comes out at 16, smashes through everyone. He is like, Kalisto tosses him. I'll see you fucking later. And then he goes, and he looks at the camera and says, "Who's next?" And out comes James Ellsworth. And he's like, "Oh dear." And then like James comes in, takes his time. Like, any man with 2 hands stands up fighting. Dead. Fuck you.
Pretty much.
I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, that's. I would not be surprised. What I do want to see is I legitimately want to see what Kofi does. I do want to see what
how will Kofi avoid elimination once by what does he do? Yeah, I'm interested in that as well. That makes me interested. I do think Finn will be back. Finn was supposedly, I saw news of it early December. A lot of sites were reporting on it. A lot of sites were saying it, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't know if they fed us the member berries or what, but Finn was cleared. Like, he could have came back at the very last pay-per-view, but they didn't. And I'm like, well, that's because they're obviously saving him for Rumble. And then everyone wants to go, I didn't see that article. And then you go looking for it, and it's gone. And you're like, I remember that article about him possibly being back for Roadblock, and then I can't find it. So
they, not the first time they'd done that. I remember when Cena got hurt. What was it? The 20? Hold on, give me a minute. It was the 2008 Royal Rumble where Cena came out at number 30. They had said that he tore his shoulder 3 months prior, and he's going to be out for like 9 months, and he showed up at the Rumble. I love that. I mean, say what you will about Cena, but I thought that was very smart in terms of making it a huge surprise. Shit, I'd be very happy if Finn came back. And honestly, that would be – because, it's funny, to kind of get off on a sidetrack, I think if Finn came back, it would be probably to win the whole thing, or if not, to set up a major feud with someone at WrestleMania, which realistically is exactly what I think is Undertaker's role.
All right. I'm sorry. I just have to read this from Sierra. She says, "LOL, I'll see you fucking later, ... Hit your ass on the way out." I don't know what this means.
Can you imagine if someone just tosses someone and they land on their ass?
On the way out?
No, like literally, like they pick them up in a seating position and they throw them and they land right on their fucking tailbone.
Oh, that's how you break a tailbone. Didn't that happen to Kurt? He landed right on his tailbone on that glass when he was going up against Shane McMahon, and that's how he broke it?
Yeah, I think it was either that or the Brock match. I can't remember now.
No, he broke his tailbone during the Shane match. I was actually listening to, if you guys don't listen to, you definitely should, Bruce Pritchard, who has a fantastic podcast. I've listened to some of his stuff. There's a lot of people I listen to. I mean, if you're ever interested in like the inner workings of the business, I think that's one of the best podcasts to listen to. You hear a lot of stuff and you understand a lot of different things. Where you're like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense now. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay. You get that that insight into the business where maybe you didn't have it before. Like a lot of Kurt one, like I knew, but I guess you could call me a young buck, a buck of youth. when it comes to wrestling because I'm only 28, and I didn't start watching wrestling until about 97, 96, somewhere in there. I was a late bloomer. And, but like when you talk to a lot of people, they're like, I've been watching wrestling for 30 years. Like they're like, and I'm just funny. Someone said Hacksaw Jim Duggan to make a return. I just recently watched that Rumble on the network, but in 1988 I was 1 year old.
So I was born in 87. I'll be 30.
I was born in 87 too.
Sweet.
Yeah, look at
I'll
that.
be 30. I'll be 30 this year. And I started watching wrestling in 2000. I was 13 years old without getting into too much back history. But when like things like WWE DVDs and the network came out, I
ate it up.
Well, I'm a huge sponge for the knowledge of the business. So I've run my own wrestling promotion. I've booked matches. I've been a manager, referee, ring announcer.
Oh, wow.
I've absorbed and done as much as I possibly can to learn as much as I can from so many different perspectives and angles of the wrestling business. So I try and learn as much as I can. So even though I've only been a fan for 17 years, I know more than I should. Put it that way.
I mean, you've been exposed to a lot more of it. I have not. Wisconsin doesn't have a whole lot of wrestling going on, believe that or not. I know, weird.
Well, Boston doesn't. I mean, Boston's a hotter spot than I'd say Wisconsin, but it's just digging and watching and learning and trying to just to learn about different things. Like I knew nothing about ECW, nothing until the Rise and Fall came out, and then I learned all about that. Then like WCW,
right?
Then like AWA, WCCW, Florida. Like I'll have the same enthusiasm for like an AWA match that I do for like a Cruiserweight match today, because I appreciate what they were for. I appreciate what they are for what that times.
Right.
By the way, sorry, Nathan, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate that. I am only now 1 subscriber away from 2,000.
All right, who's gonna be? I know somebody in there.
That was my goal. My goal was to be
two.
My goal was to be 2,000 before the Rumble. So
let me see if we can't help you out with that. Let me see. You might actually be at 2. Who knows?
I'm checking my live feed.
I was gonna say check the live feed.
But and real quick, not to steer too off topic, because your chat's amazing and I love your chat. You guys are awesome. Sierra, I saw you were asking questions about like going to wrestling. Usually there's a couple of local schools. Very few of them are very like find a credible, very big time. If you are near Heart Legacy, I know a couple people who work at who work at Heart Legacy Wrestling, who I believe they still have the Heart Legacy Wrestling School. That's a fucking mouthful to say. Go there. That's definitely the place you want to go.
All right, guys. I want one of you guys in the chat, other than Nathan, obviously, because you already did it. Guys, I'm gonna put the link up here again. Let's get OKFabe to $2,000 before WrestleMania here today. WrestleMania. Oh my! See what's on my brain? Before
Sorry guys, I tend to go off on tangents.
Royal Rumble. No, we love tangents here. I absolutely love tangents. I do. That's why I let them run free, because it's knowledge that maybe somebody didn't know. And
my prediction video, my full prediction video, will be up right after we finish up here.
You are now at 2,003 subs. So
I'm at 2,000. You guys are fantastic. I really appreciate it.
Congrats to you, sir. But let's finish up here real quick with the Royal Rumble. I think you're right. I think Joe, Ty, I think Finn is back. I don't even think there's a question. Finn is 100% back. Who is your winner?
Okay.
I'm going to give you, let's just say this. I'm going to put it to you this way, because everybody has been like kind of all over. Well, I think this guy could win if this happens, and I think this guy could win if this. No. I'm going to give you $100, and you have to take that $100, go down to Vegas, and put it on one person. Who's your money going to?
You might be shocked.
Sami Zayn.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
I put $1 on him this morning.
What? Colbert?
Yeah, I actually put $1. Oh, do you follow the betting odds or not really?
I occasionally.
I followed the betting odds. Stone Cold Steve Austin is 20,000 to 1 to win the Royal Rumble.
Trump in there?
I didn't see Trump.
I saw Trump and Obama.
Okay, I did not see it, but I saw Stone Cold was somehow 20,000 to 1 odds.
I mean,
I put $1 on it.
shit, that's
I mean,
those
it's a
good
dollar.
odds.
I'll find $1 next time I'm like walking down the
Okay.
street. But if he wins, that's 20 grand. You know?
He just comes in, subscribe to my podcast. Okay.
And throws Brock Lesnar out for the win.
So much heat. So my pick is Jericho.
I don't think that's a heat pick. I don't. I've seen a lot of Jericho. I've seen it a lot.
No. I was saying there's a lot of heat for Stone Cold eliminating Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah. No, I don't think there's be as much heat as you really
bro.
honestly think there would be. I think a lot of people would pop. I mean, I'll tell you what. Watching Rumble or not Rumble, but WrestleMania last year, when I heard that glass break, my chair fell over. Literally just boom, fell over, and I had a mark session for about 10 minutes.
So I went to, this is a while back, but I went to the Raw 900th episode. It was the one where Bret Hart fought Undertaker and Nexus like fucked everything up.
Yeah.
But Punk did this segment where he's talking about like, Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And there were rumors that he might have showed up there and he was like bashing Austin the whole time. And then the glass broke and the crowd went fucking nuts. He ended up not showing up and I was laughing my ass off because he was just trolling everybody. But but yeah, when you hear that glass break, that's like half the wrestling is the music. Like you hear one note, one chord, one thing,
and you know who it is, and
and
mind...
it's just like, like if you get a chance, like look at like Stone Cold Steve Austin like reaction videos or something like that, and you see people like you do it in slow mo. It's fantastic.
Oh, it is. I love it.
But yeah, Jericho's my pick because, as I mentioned earlier, as far as Kevin Owens, Jericho, it's a natural setup. But I think Taker's there to throw people off. I think it's just there to add more grandiose to the Rumble match. Realistically, I mean, Strowman, I think it's too soon for him because he's just starting out on his solo act.
I think he needs to be booked strong for maybe he wins next year's Rumble.
If Raw does a Money in the Bank, I see him winning that.
Oh, that's true, too. I didn't think about Money in the Bank.
Although, it's funny. It would be very funny to picture a very big Braun Strowman with a very tiny briefcase.
Maybe they make it bigger for Braun.
No. No, you make it smaller. Like, how they make like the lunch pails?
Yeah.
Give him that.
You give him that?
It'd be fucking hilarious.
That would be kind of funny.
His contract's on a Post-it note. It would just be funny. But like unfortunately I don't think anybody from SmackDown's winning it.
No, I don't think so either.
The only people I could see winning it from SmackDown would be Orton, which we talked about a little earlier.
Yep.
Orton, Miz, or Baron Corbin. I think Corbin is not slated to win the Rumble yet. I think he would be Money in the Bank if SmackDown, which I think SmackDown's going to have it this year, but I would put Baron Corbin as a Money in the Bank winner. So it'd either be Miz or Orton, and I just don't have enough confidence that Orton would. I think they've already got their match with him and Bray locked in for Mania, so I don't think they need the title for that. I think that's probably, honestly, that's one of my favorite things on SmackDown is the Wyatt family saga. So
very, very cool. Well, guys, it's time. We're going to give away the last and final card. So I got it up here right now. Jose Maldonado, you are the winner of the second card. Make sure you guys get to me on Twitter at @IAM_the Wookie. I will get that out to you. Give him a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lunchbox. I think that's great. That Post-it note on his contract's on a Post-it note. Like, just like make him just the brute.
It would just be funny. It would just be stupid.
It would be great because it's kind of stupid. But like, think about it. Like, like
that
what's kind of his
coat.
Right, and not only that, but it's like it's kind of like he has tiny brain, but his brain's only really good for one thing, and that's beating people up.
Well, like, did nobody? I don't know about you, but I laughed my ass off when he had the list.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Ass off when he had the list like that. What was it, like 2 months ago on Raw?
Yeah,
could not breathe. I'm like, why is it so funny to me? It's
here.
Like, yeah, but
yeah.
Oh man. Oh, Bauti. I hope I say that right. Bauti Acha. Yes, I do expect them to do something with Triple H and Seth to stretch out time.
I don't see Bauti Acha. Oh, there he is. Triple H appears. Yeah, they'll do something. I got to imagine Seth appears somewhere in this pay-per-view. Like, you're not going to keep your top babyface and your top show out of the pay-per-view.
And because the show is going to be, I argue that Jericho's the biggest babyface. He's got the most reactions. It's kind of really ironic when you look at it, because like Roman and AJ are total opposites. Roman's the most booed babyface, and AJ's the most cheered heel.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I love it. But, hey, real quick, Damian, we'll do another one. I mean, I'm almost getting to the 1,000. I said I'd do it at 700. I said I'd do it at $1,000 because, you know, when I got to 700, I nearly hit the floor, because you're talking to a channel that at the beginning of 2016 I had 268 subs. And then all of a sudden, during the month of January, has been very good to the Wookiee.
Well, I'll be retweeting this video out once you put it up on the Twitter. So
yeah, well, it'll eventually go up. I don't know if it might even be up now. I have no idea. Obviously, it's live, so you stupid idiot, you better watch it. Don't put KE in a cage, man. I don't know what that means. Oh, don't put me in a cage. No, nobody's going in a cage. Nobody's going, not tonight. But guys,
I love that part when Jericho was saying, like, put me in a cage, lock me in, man.
Right? Because very sexy pinata.
There was what was the other one?
That was my favorite part. Like a sexy pinata.
Sexy pinata. Like they're just really fun. The what was the other one? I saw a meme that said it was showing James Ellsworth having a conversation with Jericho, saying, "Hey Chris, yes, chinless one. What can I do to be a better wrestler? It's simple. You got to do one thing. What's that? Grow a chin, man."
Oh boy, Chris Jericho. Is he okay? So let's go sort of through some of the over unders. Is Chris Jericho the most revitalized wrestler of 2016?
If in WWE, yes.
I think all in all of wrestling.
Nope.
No? Who do you think's the most revitalized?
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come.
But well, I suppose that was 2016, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was 2016. Yeah. So yeah, I got to give it to Matt Hardy too, because he put that company on his back, and it looks like he's going to continue to do that. Let's go through some of the over unders. Over under, and I'm going to set it right the bar. Well, you know, I guess let's do it this way. What do you think? Any of the UK tournament guys show up at the Rumble? Yay or nay?
Yes, I think at least 2.
You thinking along the same lines? At least bare minimum 2.
Yeah, at least Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. At least those two guys.
And that was the exact 2 I chose.
Right. So I think, what was it? There's 8 people that have not been announced yet for the Rumble.
8,
so
correct.
My initial plan was 2 UK guys, 2 Cruiserweights, 2 NXTs, and 2 surprises.
All right. Jim brings up my next point, and I'm sure you've seen the news that I've seen today. Kenny Omega in the Rumble. Wrong. Kenny Omega's re-signed with New Japan. That just happened today. Literally today. So you will not.
Japan's in the future, so technically, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it happened as of now. So no Kenny Omega in the Royal Rumble,
which I'm honestly happy for.
I am too, because I like Kenny Omega right where he is. I like who he is right now, and I think honestly, New Japan coming across the ocean may push WWE to bigger and better things.
Yep.
So I think that's actually good in more ways than one. You know,
right. I think Kenny will eventually come to WWE, just not right now.
Eventually. All right. Well, okay. So speaking of that, Young Bucks, they eventually going to come to WWE?
Here's the thing. The wrestling landscape, as far as the independent scene, has changed so drastically in just the last 5 years. So they are proof that you can be 110% successful in this business and not go to WWE. You can make a living off of professional wrestling without going to WWE. So, realistically, it's kind of like AJ Styles. AJ didn't need to come to WWE.
Right. He's said on multiple occasions he wanted to, which I understand. He's got family
right, and I'm
here.
Sure, right, I'm sure a lot of people wanted to. But my point to them is, I think they'll come if it's something that interests them. And I think right now it does not. I think they're having fun with the creative-ish freedom that they have in Japan. The Bullet Club is super fucking over outside of the WWE. It's probably the most over thing outside of WWE next to Brother Nero and Broken Matt Hardy. So, there's no... Probably the same thing for Kenny Omega. There's no grand incentive. Like, the pros don't outweigh the cons right now for them. They're in a comfortable place. They're comfortable. They have a lot of freedom. They're very popular, et cetera, and so forth. So I don't see them coming to WWE yet. I think much like the AJ Styles situation, I think eventually down the road they probably will, or at least consider it. But right now there's no reason for them to yet, unless they get that itch of like, man, I kind of want to go and see it. How, you know what I mean? Like there's no incentive for them right now.
Real quick, Daniel. Ben Denoncourt won, and Jose Maldonado won. So, I think that was a catcher for the Brewers at one point in time. But either way, those are the two guys who have won for the giveaway. And that's about it. Well, okay, Fabe, dude, it's been real, brother. We've been going here for about an hour, almost 2 hours. So, I've had a ton of fun, obviously, doing the predictions. It's a long weekend for both you and I.
Yes.
You did. I'm actually looking on your channel now. You got Genesis. You got your predictions video coming up tonight.
Yes.
Are you going to be doing review videos for NXT and the Rumble?
Yep, I do. I do every major pay-per-view for WWE and TNA. So I just started redoing TNA reviews because there's a high demand for it. Go figure. So I do Raw, TNA reviews every week, and then every NXT Takeover and every WWE pay-per-view there's a review on my channel. And for SmackDown, I do those for One Wrestling. But I have a playlist on my channel where you can always see all the SmackDown reviews.
So guys, if you're not already subscribed, again, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. You guys can go check him out. He's hit his goal.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
If we can crack that out a little more for him, even further, and get it a little bit better, maybe just a little bit sweeter, if you would. And don't forget, subscribe here, like the video if you like the video. Well, happy birthday, Hot Dog Pants. Happy early birthday. Real quick, we can talk about Supercard on Twitter. Superstar Jim, Supercard Jim, the Wookiee needs to get prepped for tomorrow. I'm sure OKFabe needs to as well.
Yeah.
After you guys are done, you guys know where to find me. We do the live reactions. We watch and talk about it all together. So guys, after you're done here, go over to his channel and you can check out his
In fact, I'm uploading it. It's going to be the public, right?
Oh, I was saying, because I do all my stuff live. I do Raw live, SmackDown live, NXT. Normally Lucha Underground too, but Lucha Underground's obviously on a mid-season finale. I just TNA has been hit and miss, but then obviously I do every pay-per-view and every takeover. So guys, you guys can literally come here for the fun, listen to it, we can talk about it, what's going on, and then you can hop right over there for a video of a review and get a completely different perspective. Because again, wrestling, as I've always said, is all about perspective, and more perspective is better than no perspective. So guys, have a fantastic night. We'll see you tomorrow. We may see you in the morning. I may have a special guest. But we'll see you tomorrow night for NXT TakeOver San Antonio. And then obviously Sunday is the Rumble. Guys, have fun and we'll see you then.